I buried my best friend alive in the Nevada desert 25 years ago. Not because he deserved it, but because his father, the man whose empire I'd just inherited, begged me to make it look like a suicide to protect the family name. That same father, Harlan Voss, now sat across from me at his Napa Valley estate, toasting my son's marriage to his daughter with vintage Cabernet, oblivious that the poor mechanic in threadbare overalls was the ghost he'd paid off to vanish his sins. And as I smiled through gritted teeth, forks scraping china like nails on a coffin lid, I wondered if spilling the wine, or the truth, would taste sweeter. I never planned on crashing their world like this. Hell, I never planned on any of it. My name's Riley Harlan, no relation to that bastard. Thank God, and back in the 90s, I was just a grease monkey kid from Reno, fixing rigs for Harlan Voss's logging outfit in the Tahoe Pines. Harlan was the kingpin of Voss Timber, a cutthroat operation that stripped mountains bare and bribed regulators to look the other way. He had that old-school American grit, broad shoulders, a jaw like chiseled granite, and eyes that could appraise a redwood's bored feet faster than a chainsaw could fell it. I idolized him. Or at least that's what I told myself when I signed on as his right-hand man at 22. My buddy Jax was the one who dragged me into it. We grew up together. Him the wild one with a laugh like thunder and a habit of hot-wiring Harleys for joyrides. Jax was Harlan's son, the black sheep heir who partied too hard and crashed too often. But blood's blood. And Harlan covered for him, until the night Jax wrapped his daddy's vintage Mustang around a Sequoia trunk, killing a local girl in the passenger seat. She was 18, prom queen from a trailer park family that suddenly had lawyers and headlines. Manslaughter charges loomed like storm clouds over Donner Pass. That's when Harlan pulled me aside in his oak-paneled office, the air thick with cigar smoke and the faint rot of fresh sawn lumber. "Riley," he said, voice gravelly as a fresh gravel road, "you're family to us."
Jax.
He's got a future. But this'll bury him. He slid an envelope across the desk, 50 grand.
Cash.
And a one-way ticket to a new life. The plan was simple: stage it as Jax's suicide. I'd drive him out to the Black Rock Desert, make it look like he'd OD'd on blow and pills, bury the body shallow enough for discovery but deep enough to buy time. In return, Harlan would deed me the mineral rights to a chunk of his land in Napa, undeveloped scrub that he swore was worthless. But I knew better. It sat on a vein of rare earth minerals, the kind Silicon Valley was starting to crave for batteries and tech. I did it. God help me. I did it. Shoveled red dirt over Jax's slack face under a moon like a guilty eye. His last words a slurred thanks. "Bro, tell Dad I love him." I drove back to Reno puking my guts out. But the check cleared, and the headline screamed, "Heir's tragic end. Voss family mourns." Harlan promoted me overnight. Made me CFO of the whole damn operation. But the land? He never transferred it. "Timing's off," he'd say, clapping my shoulder like we were poker buddies. "Markets are volatile. Trust me, kid." Years turned to decades, and trust turned to tumor. By the time Harlan semi-retired to his vineyard estate, I'd quietly bought out the title through shell companies. Turns out, worthless scrub was now prime for a lithium mine worth billions. Voss Timber? I owned the debt that kept it afloat, anonymous as a shadow. Fast forward to now, 2025. And my boy Ethan's the spitting image of me at his age. Lanky, quiet, with hands that could rebuild an engine blindfolded. He met Lila Voss at a UC Berkeley mixer. Her, the polished sorority queen with daddy's Amex and a laugh like champagne bubbles. Him, The scholarship kids slinging lattes at the campus cafe. They fell hard. The way millennials do. Instagram reels of Napa sunsets and Tesla drives. Hashtags like power couple goals. When Ethan proposed on the Golden Gate with a ring he'd saved 2 years for, I cried harder than at Jax's funeral. But then came the wedding invite. Black tie gala at the Voss estate. RSVPs to a planner who ghosted my calls. Ethan shrugged it off. They're just fancy, Dad, but I saw the subtext. Harlan's crowd didn't mingle with Reno riffraff. So, I decided to play their game. One better. I showed up to the rehearsal dinner in my granddad's old Levi's. Holes patched with duct tape. A flannel shirt faded to the color of desert dust. And boots caked in imaginary shop grime. No tie. No shave, just Riley the auto tech. Widowed dad from the sticks. Scraping by on oil changes and odd jobs. Ethan about swallowed his tongue when I pulled up in my '89 Ford pickup, rust-eaten and rattling like a death rattle.
Dad.
What the hell? This is Napa. Not a junkyard. Son, I said, clapping his shoulder the Harlan way. If they can't handle real, they don't deserve you. Truth was, I wanted to see their mask slip. Lila's family had buried one Harlan secret. Now I'd unearth another. The estate was straight out of a Netflix villain lair, sprawling Spanish hacienda with infinity pools overlooking rows of Cabernet vines. The kind of place where the air smelled like money and Merlot. Valets in crisp whites eyed my truck like it was a bomb. Inside, crystal chandeliers dripped light over white linens and waitstaff gliding like ghosts. Harlan held court at the head, silver hair slicked back. His third wife, some Botox trophy named Kendra, clinging to his arm like a designer purse. Lila hovered nearby, her gown a whisper of silk that probably cost more than my yearly rent, while a gaggle of aunts and uncles sipped rose and name-dropped private jets. Ethan introduced me with that forced grin kids get when worlds collide. Everyone, this is my dad. Riley.
He's
in automotive repair. Snickers rippled like dry leaves. Harlan's eyes narrowed, appraising me like a flawed board, familiar, but off. Automotive. Good, honest work. Pull up a chair. Riley. Try the foie gras, it's French. I sat, fork in hand, feeling their stares like spotlights. Small talk flowed like the Napa River, stock tips, yacht clubs, the latest Tesla upgrade. When they asked about me, I spun the yarn tight, widowed to cancer. Ethan raised on ramen and resolve. Me fixing beaters for single moms and dreaming of that big score that never came. Lila cooed sympathies, but her eyes flicked to my scuffed boots like they offended her Louboutins. Harlan, though, he leaned in, bourbon breath hot. Sounds tough. Son. Ever think about unionizing? My outfit back in the day. We kept things flexible. I met his gaze. That old guilt flickering in mine like a bad weld. Flexible's one word for it. Mr.
Voss.
Burying problems deep works too, till the ground shifts. His laugh boomed, but it didn't reach his eyes. Dinner dragged, seared scallops that tasted like privilege, toasts to new beginnings that felt like veiled warnings. Kendra whispered to Lila about upgrading Ethan's wardrobe, and an uncle cornered me by the dessert cart. Kid like yours? Marrying up. Don't drag him down with whatever this is. I nodded, smiling that Reno poker face. But inside, the shovel felt heavy in my hands again. By midnight, as fireworks cracked over the vines, some patriotic nod to the 4th. Even in December, the party's edge sharpened. Ethan pulled me aside near the pool, face flushed.
Dad, you're killing me.
Harlan just asked if I needed a starter job at his firm. Like I'm Charity. Lila joined, her hand on his arm possessive. Babe, it's sweet. Your dad's. Authentic. But maybe next time. A blazer? Authentic. The words stuck like burrs. I clapped Ethan's back, murmured, "Proud of you, kid," and slipped out to the terrace, lighting a camel under the stars. Harlan found me there, tumbler in hand, silhouetted against the valley's glow. "Riley Harlan," he drawled, like testing a vintage. "Heard that name before." "You from Tahoe?" "Close enough," I said, exhaling smoke toward the dark. "Fixed rigs for a logging crew once." Boss was a real piece of work, promised the world, delivered dirt. His face tightened, that predator squint. For a heartbeat, I saw it, recognition dawning like a slow fuse. But then Kendra called him back inside, and he clapped my shoulder, harder than before. "Stick around, Riley." Family's family. As I drove back to my motel that night, the truck's headlights carving tunnels through fog, I gripped the wheel till my knuckles bleached. 25 years of silence. And now, the prodigal's back, wearing the grave dirt they thought washed off. Ethan deserved better than their condescension. Lila's subtle jabs about our lifestyle. But this wasn't just for him. It was for Jax, choking on sand in my nightmares. For the envelope that bought my soul. Harlan's empire, built on my berry job. And that Napa land, the deed burned in my glove box, notarized and ironclad. Tomorrow's wedding, my altar. The ceremony dawned crisp, valley air humming with helicopters ferrying guests from San Francisco Airport. I traded the overalls for a rented suit, off-the-rack polyester that itched like accusation, but kept the boots, polished to a mocking shine. The Voss Chapel was a marble monstrosity, stained glass depicting saints with vintner's grapes instead of halos. Ethan stood ramrod at the altar, eyes wide as Lila glided down the aisle on Harlan's arm, her veil a cascade of tulle worth a semester's tuition. Vows exchanged, rings slipped on with whispers of eternity, and then the reception, a tented extravaganza with string quartets and caterers juggling oysters on half-shells. I nursed a flat beer in the corner, watching Harlan work the crowd like a revival preacher, handshakes with senators, air kisses to starlets. Kendra cornered me by the cake, a 7-tier behemoth frosted like swirled cream. "Riley."
Dear.
"Lila mentioned your situation." "Struggling?" Harlan's discreet with loans. "No interest. Family rates." I swirled my beer, foam head dying slow. "Appreciate it,
Ma'am.
but I've got my pride. And dirt under my nails that don't wash off." She tittered, mistaking it for humility, and flitted away. Ethan found me later, tie loosened, glow of the day fading.
Dad.
"You okay? You look like you're at a funeral." "Weddings are funerals for freedom, son," I quipped, but my chest tightened. He laughed, pulled me into the fray for dances, awkward shuffles to Ed Sheeran covers that had Lila's cousins filming for TikTok. Harlan cut in during the father-daughter sway, twirling Lila with that possessive grace, then nodded me over. "Your turn, Riley. Show us Reno rhythm." We slow danced like wary boxers, his cologne clashing with my aftershave. "Fine boy you raised," he grunted. "Reminds me of my Jax. Wild heart, steady hands, The name hit like a gut punch. I stumbled a step, grip tightening on his lapel. Jax.
Huh?
Heard he was a tragedy. What did you bury with him? His eyes flashed steel on flint. Memories, son, and mistakes. You know about mistakes? The band swelled, drowning us in brass, but the air crackled. Later, as dusk bled purple over the vines, a storm front rolled in from the Pacific, unseasonal thunder rumbling like distant artillery. Guests buzzed about climate change over charcuterie, but I saw omen. Harlan pulled Ethan aside for man talk in the study.
Doors ajar.
I lingered in the hall, ear to oak. The boy's got potential, Harlan's voice boomed, muffled by leather chairs. But that father of his? Dead weight. We'll set you up in the East Wing, separate quarters. Lila needs stability.
Not.
Whatever Reno rot he's peddling. Ethan's reply was steel. He's not rot.
Sir.
He's the reason I'm standing here. Raised me solo after mom. Son, Harlan cut in. Paternal poison. Family adapts. Or it breaks. I backed away, pulse hammering, the study's shadow swallowing their words. Lila found me on the veranda, rain spitting now, pattering tent canvas like impatient fingers. Riley, you vanished. Everything all right? Her concern was genuine. Or near enough, wide doe eyes. The kind that melted Ethan's resolve. Just air, I said, rain slicking my hair. Your dad's got big plans. Hope they fit. She frowned, glanced back at the lights.
He means well.
It's just. Change is hard. Ethan's lucky to have you. I mean, real.
Real.
There it was again. I wanted to spill it then, the land, the lie, Jax's ghost, but the twist knife stayed sheathed. Instead, I hugged her awkward, whispering, take care of my boy, Lila. Or I'll have to. Her laugh was nervous, but the seed planted. Night deepened, party thinning to diehards and drunk uncles. I slipped to my truck, rain sheeting windshield, and fished the glove box deed. Crumpled vellum, stamped 1998, mineral rights to parcel 47, the worthless ridge Harlan's vineyard butted against. I'd sat on it for years, letting Voss Timber's loans compound like interest on a grudge. Now, with Ethan tethered to their web, it was time to cut lines. But revenge ain't a straight cut, it's a jagged tear. Next morning, hangover haze lifting, Ethan called, Dad, brunch at the house. Harlan insists, family bonding. I drove up in the Ford, mud splattered from a detour through the vines, parking bold by the garage Ferraris. The brunch spread was brunch porn, avocado toast towers, heirloom tomatoes bleeding juice, mimosas fizzing like secrets. Harlan presided, Kendra fluttering, Lila nursing coffee with that newlywed glow. Conversation skirted politics, Trump's latest tweet storm. Biden's ghost lingering in headlines, but Harlan steered to business. Ethan here's got the chops for agritech. Voss Ventures could use fresh blood. Ethan flushed, proud but pinned. I buttered a scone. Crumbs like accusations. Agritech.
Huh?
Sounds lucrative. What's the collateral? Family land? Harlan's fork paused midair. Land's the game. Riley. Always has been. You ever deal in it? Tahoe boys, no timber. But Napa? That's wine and wire transfers. I leaned back, Boots thudding carpet. Dealt in dirt once. Buried a problem for a logging king. He stiffed me on the payout, said it was flexible. The table stilled. Mimosas forgotten. Kendra's eyes widened. Lila's hand found Ethan's under linen. Harlan's face was thunderhead. The hell you on about? Jax, I said, voice low as rain on roof. 1998. Black Rock. I drove him out. Made it look like suicide. You paid me $50K and a promise on Napa Scrub, parcel 47. Ring a bell? Gasps rippled. Ethan's chair scraped back. Harlan's color drained to ash. Bullshit. You're some delusional grease monkey. I slid the deed across the table. Raindamp edges curling. Not delusional. Owner. And Voss Timber? I hold the notes. 100 mil in arrears. Call it interest on buried friends. Chaos erupted. Kendra screeching for lawyers. Lila torn between horror and fury. Ethan staring like I'd grown horns. Dad? What the fuck? Harlan lunged, snatching the paper, veins bulging like roots. This is forgery. I'll bury you. Like Jax. I stood, slow as judgment. Or like the girl's family you silenced. I took the fall for your blood. Harlan. Ate the nightmare so your empire stood. Now Ethan's in the crosshairs?
Nah.
Pay up. Or I frack that ridge and watch your vines wither. The room fractured. Ethan bolted. Lila chasing. Tears streaking mascara. Harlan collapsed into his chair, whispering, Why now, after all this? Family, I spat. You taught me that. Rain hammered harder. A deluge drowning the valley. As sirens wailed distant, storm or scandal. Who could tell? End of file 1. The fallout hit like a nor'easter off the Sierras, fast, furious, and freezing everything in its path. By noon, the Voss estate was a war zone, lawyers in Armani swarming the drive like locusts, NDAs flapping in the wind, and paparazzi drones buzzing overhead despite the downpour. Ethan cornered me in the mudroom, rain dripping from his tuxedo tails, face a mask of betrayal sharper than any blade. Dad. What the hell was that? Jax? Buried? You're telling me you killed my future brother-in-law. Not killed, I growled, toweling my hair, the scent of wet wool and regret thick. Saved his ass from prison. Your grandpa, Harlan, Jax wrapped a car around a tree. Killed a girl. Manslaughter. I staged the out. Made it suicide. Clean exit for the Voss legacy. Ethan's eyes bulged. That boyish trust shattering like cheap crystal.
And you?
What did you get? A pat on the back and a guilt trip? Jesus.
Dad.
You're a fucking accessory. The word landed like a haymaker. Accessory. Yeah. That was me, side character in their tragedy. Props in the plot. I got the land, sun, and silence. 25 years of it. While Harlan built this circus on Jax's ghost, he paced, fists clenched, the mudroom's terracotta tiles slick underfoot. Lila burst and then, soaked and seething, her bridesmaid's gown clinging like a shroud. You ruined everything. My father, he's having a heart attack scare upstairs. Because of your psycho revenge fantasy. Revenge. I laughed, bitter as black coffee. Tried justice deferred. Your old man's a snake. Lila. Slithers out of messes. Leave suckers like me to choke on the venom. She slapped me, crack echoing like thunder, palm stinging red against my cheek. Ethan grabbed her waist. pulling her back. But his eyes on me?
Ice.
Get out, Dad.
Just.
Go. I went. Trucks sloshing through flooded roads back to the motel. Wipers slapping rhythm like a metronome of mistakes. Checked my phone. Voicemails piling. Harlan's assistant demanding arbitration. Ethan's single text. Need space. Don't call.
Space.
The one thing the desert gives plenty of. But cities? They crowd you till you snap. That night. Holed up with a six-pack and bad cable. I paced the shag carpet. Replaying the brunch blowout. Harlan's face when he read the deed, priceless. Like watching a king dethroned by his own forgotten decree. But the slap? Lila's fire? That was the controversy brewing. The gray where right bled into wrong. Was I avenging Jack's? Or poisoning my own bloodline? Ethan's wedding band glinted in my mind's eye.
Anoshe disgaze doshonet.
Dawn broke gray. Coffee bitter as I plotted next moves. Called my Reno attorney, slick operator named Marty, who handled the shell core. Riley. You sure? Voss'll countersue for defamation. Harlan's got judges in his golf foursome. Let him, I said. File the lien on timber today. And the EPA notice on Parcel 47 mentioned the groundwater risk from their runoff. Marty whistled low. That's scorched earth.
Boss.
Your boy's in the blast zone.
Yeah.
Scorched. Like the desert that night with Jax. Stars mocking overhead as I piled sand. I drove back to Napa anyway. Uninvited ghost at the gate. Security waved me through, Harlan's orders. Probably. To handle me quiet. The estate loomed sodden. Vines drooping like whipped dogs. Found Harlan in his study. Bandages peeking from his robe collar. Nursing scotch at noon. Kendra hovered like a vulture. But he waved her out.
Seat.
Riley. Before I have you dragged.
Iset.
Boots on his Persian rug. Heart okay? Or just the wallet clenching? He poured me a finger neat. No ice and leaned back. That predator poise cracking at the seams. You're him. The fixer. Tahoe rig boy. Christ. Jax mentioned you once. Rise solid. Dad. Won't crack. His voice broke on the name. Bourbon sloshing. Why drag this up now? Ethan's a good kid. Lila loves him. We could've. Coexisted. Coexisted? I slammed the glass down. Amber splashing like blood. You stiffed me on the land. Harlan. Then your Empire blood cash loans I covered. While you yachted in Monaco. And now? Treating my son like a fixer-upper. East Wing exile?
Nah.
Time to own the dirt. He steepled fingers. Eyes cunning as a fox in a henhouse. What if I pay? Double the mineral value.
Cash. Today.
Walk away. Riley. Let the kids build their life. Temptation gnawed, easy out. Ethan spared the shrapnel. But Jax's face flashed. Sand in his lashes.
Triple.
And a public nod. Riley Harlan. Longtime partner. Key to Voss' success. Bury the grudge proper. Harlan's laugh was hollow. Partner? You're the grave digger.
But fine.
Triple. Wired by sunset. He extended a hand, liver spotted and trembling. I shook. Seal on a devil's pact. But as I rose, he added soft, tell me about the end. Jax, did he suffer? The question hung, raw as exposed root.
No. Quick. Pits kicked in fast.
He mumbled about you, Love ya, old man. Harlan deflated, shoulders sagging like felled timber. I left him there, scotch weeping down his chin, and stepped into the hall where Lila waited, arms crossed, fury etched like frost. You got what you wanted, she hissed. Dad's broken. Happy. Not about breaking, I said. About balancing. She searched my face. Then, unexpected, softened a fraction. Ethan's packing. Says he can't look at either of us. My gut twisted. Let him cool. Kid's got Harlan blood now, stubborn as sin. Afternoon blurred. Wire transfer pinged, 3 bill. Clean, lawyers circling like sharks off Monterey. I drove the valley loops. Radio droning NPR on AG droughts. Irony thick as fog. Pulled over at a turnout overlooking Parcel 47, scrub oak clinging to shale. Oblivious to the fortune in its veins. No frack scars yet. Maybe I'd leave it green. Or not. Power's a drug. Harlan taught me that. Ethan texted coordinates. Roadside diner off Highway 29. Neon sign flickering. Open 24/7 like a liar's promise. I arrived to rain-slick booths and pie under glass. He slid in opposite. Duffel at feet. Lila's ring off his finger. Dad. Explain. All of it. I did. The full rot. Jax's crash. The girl's screams in headlines faded to footnotes. Harlan's plea in cigar smoke. The desert midnight with shovel song. Ethan's face cycled shock. Disgust. A dawning pity. You carried that? For them? Why not tell me sooner? Protect you, son. From this weight. He drummed fingers on Formica. Truckers glancing curious. And the land? You're loaded now. Could have bought us a life. Not this. Bum. Thought you'd judge less if I played poor, I admitted. Test their mettle. He snorted. Failed that. Lila's defending her dad, says you manipulated.
But.
I get it. Blood's messy. We sat silent. Coffee steaming.
Then ta tong tin giúp.
Then, stay married? I asked. He shrugged. Maybe. Or maybe I start fresh. Voss Harlan Agritech, my way. Pride swelled. Bitter-edged. That's my boy. But as we hugged goodbye, awkward, rain-scented, the diner's door chimed. Harlan. Soaked trench coat. Eyes wild. Ethan. Don't listen to him. Lies, all of it. Ethan stiffened. I stepped forward. Shield. Go home. Old man. Deal's done. Harlan's gaze locked mine. Venomous. You think triple ends it? I know things. Riley. That girl in the car? Not just manslaughter.
Jax.
He said things.
About you.
The world tilted.
Me?
I'd been in Reno that night. Alibi ironclad. But Harlan's smirk twisted. Witnesses. Or I make 'em.
Cliffhanger gut punch.
Blackmail flipped his ace. My bluff called. Harlan's words hung in the diner air like exhaust fumes. Thick and choking. Ethan froze mid-stride, duffel slipping from his shoulder, while the waitress paused mid-pour, sensing drama thicker than her hash browns. What the hell? Grandpa. Ethan spat. The word grandpa laced with fresh acid. Harlan shrugged off his coat, water pooling at his loafers. That silver fox grin sharpening to fangs. Ask your old man.
Boy.
About the Mustang's passenger. She wasn't just some prom date. I lunged, grabbing his lapel. the booth creaking under our tangle. Shut your lying mouth.
Was.
I was 400 miles away, work logs, time stamps. But doubt wormed in, cold as the rain seeping under the door. Jax and I had history, wild nights, shared sins, but that crash? Clean.
Or so I believed.
Harlan's eyes gleamed, enjoying the squirm. Logs forge easy. Riley. And girls talk. Before they die. Ethan shoved between us, voice cracking like teen thunder. Enough.
Dad.
Is this true?
You.
Involved? My throat closed.
Desert dry. No. Son.
Swear on your mother's grave. But Harlan chuckled. Low and mean. Mother's grave?
Gu.
Call your lawyers.
Kid.
This family's rotten to the core. Pick a side. He swept out into the storm, leaving us sodden and splintered. Ethan stared, betrayal blooming anew, then grabbed his bag. I need
Air. Truth.
Don't follow. The door slammed, bell jangling mocking, and I deflated into the vinyl, head in hands. The waitress slid a check, $4.72 for coffee's gone cold, muttering. Family nights on the house.
Hun.
Looks like you need it. Back at the motel. I paced circuits till the carpet wore thin. Phone blowing up. Marty's texts, retract the lien? Voss is screaming fraud. Lila's voicemails, you broke him, us, fix this. Ethan's silence, louder than screams. Harlan's bomb ticked. Witnesses? I'd buried Jax's secrets with him. But echoes linger. That night in '98. Post-crash. Jax called me hammered from a payphone. Rye. Fuck.
She's gone.
Dad's flipping, says cover. You in. I'd driven.
Sure.
But arrived after sirens wailed. Or had I? Memory blurred. Bourbon-fueled gaps from the drive. Dawn hit with a hangover halo. I showered hot. Steam fogging the lie. Dress sharp. First time in years. Brooks Brothers from the Napa outlet, and headed to Voss HQ, a glass monolith in downtown St. Helena. Vines etched into steel beams like veins. Security buzzed me up. Harlan's invite. Bait on the hook. His corner office overlooked the valley. Floor-to-ceiling windows framing storm clouds scudding east. He lounged at a desk the size of a Cadillac. Photos of Lila and Jax, photoshopped smile, flanking a crystal decanter. Riley. Coffee? Or straight to the throat? He poured 2 mugs. Black as sin. Sliding one over. I stayed standing. Arms crossed. Spill it.
Harlan.
What's the play? Extort the payout back. He sipped. Savoring. Play?
Nah.
Reckoning. That deed? Legit. I'll grant. But Jax's crash? You were there early, weren't you? Helped him ditch the scene before calling it in. Girl's daddy, truck driver from Winnemucca, saw your rig idling. Said you'd pay him hush. $5K to forget. Bullshit. I'd never met the man. But Harlan leaned in, voice oily. He's alive. Riley. Bitter. And for the right price? Testifies. Manslaughter sticks to you like sap. My knees buckled. I gripped the desk. Glass city blurring. Liar. Jax drove solo, your orders. Harlan's mask slipped. Grief raw for a beat. My orders? He was spiraling, coke habit. Debts to Bay Area sharks. I told him to lay low.
Not that. But you?
Loyal Rye. Always cleaning. Witnesses place you.
Boy.
Photos even blurry, but damning. Photos. Heart slammed ribs. If true, I wasn't just fixer, I was felon. Prison yawned. Ethan's face in visiting glass. What do you want? I whispered. Harlan's grin returned. Magnanimous. Walk the deed back.
Shred the lien. And Ethan?
He joins the firm, my way. Or your freedom's the next casualty. Checkmate. I nodded numb. Storm outside mirroring the one inside.
Done.
But touch my boy, and I drag Jax's dealer into court, your suppliers. Harlan. Timber wasn't your only cut. He laughed. Genuine this time. Tit for tat. American as apple pie. I left shattered. Driving blind through drizzle to the ridge. Parcel 47. My phantom fortune. Hiked the scrub. Boots sinking in mud. Till I found the survey marker. Rusted stake whispering ownership. Sat there till dusk. Weighing scales. Triple bill versus bars. Ethan's future versus my past. Called Marty. Hold the filings. Negotiating. His paws heavy. Riley. Don't drown for ghosts.
Ghosts.
Jax haunted still. His laugh in wind. Accusation in clouds. Back at the motel. Lila waited on the stoop. Umbrella dripping. Eyes red-rimmed. Ethan's with me.
Talking. He.
Knows everything now. Her voice trembled. Not hate, hurt. Why poison us? We could have been family. Family? I unlocked the door. Gesturing her in. Your dad's a puppeteer. Lila. Strings on all. I cut mine loose. She sank to the bed. Mascara tracks like war paint. And Jax? You killed for him, or covered. Ethan's gutted. Says you're hero and monster.
Hero. Monster.
The divide Harlan sowed. Readers picking teams in their heads. Both.
Kid.
That's the American dream, gray as Napa fog. We talked till midnight. Her childhood in Harlan shadow. My Reno grind. Shared scars of father's flawed. Dawn crept. And she left with a hug. Tentative.
Thaw.
Fix it. For Ethan. I tried. Met Harlan at the vineyard tasting room. Neutral ground amid barrels like coffins. He swirled Pinot.
Smug. Date.
I slid a folder. Forged retraction. Marty's magic. Yours. Liens lift tomorrow. He beamed. Clinking glasses.
Smart man.
Ethan's interview Monday, VP track. But as he turned, I palmed his phone from the bar, slight from Reno card nights. Slipped out, heart pounding, and drove to a burner shop in Vallejo. Harlan's texts unlocked, deals with Chinese miners, bribes to county assessors, and jackpot, a folder labeled Reno 98, blurry pics my truck, time-stamped pre-crash. But metadata lied, Photoshop layers. Timestamps fudged. And the witness. Harlan's peril. Paid to perjure. Twist uncoiled. He'd fabricated the noose. Tightening on air. Rage boiled.
Pure distillate.
Drove back raging. Storm cleared to stars sharp as accusations. Confronted him at the estate. Gate crashing open. He met me on the drive. Robe belted loose. Kendra peering from windows. Riley, deal's done. Done. I thrust the phone. Screen glowing incriminating. Your forgeries. Harlan. Truck pics from O2 wrong plates. Witness? Your stooge. Wired Monthly. His face crumpled. Not fury, fear. Wait, Riley. It was protection. For all of us. If Jax's crash blew open. Timber falls. You too. Protection? I roared, shoving him back. Ethan emerged from the house. Lila trailing. Faces pale moons. You framed me to keep your empire? After I buried your boy. Harlan staggered. Clutching chest. Real this time. Wheeze rattling.
Please.
Heart. Kendra screamed. Lila dialed 911. Ethan caught Harlan as he folded, whispering, Dad? No, Grandpa. I stood frozen. The villain unmasked but frail. Humanity leaking like spilled wine. Ambulance wailed. Light strobing vines. Medics swarming. Harlan gasped on the gurney. Eyes locking mine. Forgive. Riley. For Jax. The ride to Kaiser blurred, me following in the truck. Ethan's shotgun with Lila. Silence a third passenger. ER waiting room. Vinyl chairs. Bad fluorescence. Coffee vending prayers. Ethan paced, Lila curled fetal. He'll pull through, the doc said later. Clipboard shield. Stent.
Rest.
But stress. Avoid. Avoid.
Yeah.
Harlan stabilized. But the board shifted. I entered his room solo. Monitors beeping dirge. Awake. Tubes snaking. He croaked. Destroy the files. Please. I held the phone. Delete finger hovering.
Why?
One call. Enter the monster. Weakness, he admitted. Voice rasp. Feared losing it all.
Jax.
He confessed once. You weren't there early. He lied to cover you from a bar fight night before. Girl's dad? Real grudge. But no pics.
I.
Built the trap to scare you off the land.
Confessed.
Jax's lie. Harlan's empire of mirrors. I deleted. Screen winking out. For Ethan. Not you. He nodded. Tears tracking. Good man. Better than me. Discharge came quick, private suite. Nursing round the clock. Ethan visited daily. Thawing slow, Lila baked pies. Domestic truce.
Me?
I deeded parcel 47 back, half to Voss. Half to a conservation trust.
No mine.
No billions, just green legacy. Jax's ghost appeased. Timberline's lifted my anonymous loans? Forgiven.
Quiet. Wedding redo?
Small. Backyard affair at my Reno plot. Truckers and techies mingling.
Nos chandeliers.
Just fire pit and beers. Ethan and Lila vowed anew. Rings refitted. Harlan watching from a lawn chair. Cane in hand. Kendra fussing. He pulled me aside post-ceremony. Sunset gilding the Sierras. Riley. Partner? For real. I clasped his hand. Firm. Associate. Watch your step. Old man. Laughter shared. Uneasy but earned.
But the twist?
Months later. A letter arrived anonymous. Postmarked Winnemucca. Inside. Faded Polaroid of my truck at the crash site. Timestamp reel. And a note. New Voss lied. But you were there. Girl's dad. Call if you want peace.
Peace.
Or war renewed. I burned it in the fire pit. Ashes to wind. Hero? Monster? Reader's call. In America, revenge circles back, bittersweet as a last pour.